right. Again, I have to do that every time now. So, welcome back, everybody. This will be part 8 of the 2025 DVD and collection overview video. No, I didn't. I did my hair, but I didn't really do my hair. I just moved it because it was all sticking up this morning when I woke up. So, I know I keep saying it. You guys know me. I'm a big fat liar. I lie about everything. Oh, before we get into this, the other day I did that video about people, like, telling people don't tell me about your drama and stop messaging me stupid shit about your drama. There was someone, whose name I won't mention, that got really upset about that and went on this, like, 12 comment tirade about, you're a pussy and you're a bitch and I can't watch your videos anymore. No wonder you got kicked off of YouTube. No wonder people think you're a dickhead. Why? Because I told you, not you, but I told people, stop telling me about your drama. Stop trying to get me involved in your drama. So I'm a dickhead because of that. I'm a pussy because of that. Because I don't want to hear about what dildos you'd like to shove up your ass. Man, must really suck to be you. Just saying. Anyway, but this will be, I promise you, this will be the last part here with this shelf. I can't believe I did 8 hours just on this shelf. But this is what happens when I start rambling incoherently, apparently, which is all I ever do. So we're going to go ahead. Let's get into this. Let's knock it out. And then we'll move on to the other stuff. So first up, we have Overlord, the not so Nazi zombie movie. I actually saw this in the theater when it came out. I was still in the Army at the time. One of my buddies was like, "Hey man, you want to go see this movie Overlord?" I'm like, "Well, what is it?" He's like, "Well, it's a Nazi zombie movie." I'm like, "Okay, I'm in." But it is, but it's not really. Like, I think a lot of people thought maybe, like Call of Duty, Nazi zombies as a movie, but it's not really like that. But it's still cool. I like it for what it is. He's right on the cover there. Wyatt Russell is in this, Kurt Russell's son, and then a couple other good little actors. But this did not do well when it came out. Julius Avery did this movie. I think he was the guy that ended up doing Samaritan with Stallone, which was not a good movie. But this one wasn't bad, so that's why I still have that in the collection. And then next up we have White Squall. I actually quite like this film. This is the old Mill Creek release. Kino, I think, put this back out, but it didn't have any extra features on it, so I'm okay with keeping this one. Excuse me, just getting started. But this is a Ridley Scott movie that nobody ever talks about. But it's a good little, good little drama. Really good. Hold on, this is what I do when I don't hydrate. I start talking like Froggy from Little Rascals. Alright, sorry about that. But there's a really good cast in here. A lot of up-and-comers at the time. Like Scott Wolf is in it. He was on Party of Five. He's on the cover there. Jason Marsden. Is it Jason? What is his name? Yeah, Jason Marsden. No, Jason Marsden. Yeah, from he was Max in Goofy Movie. Ryan Felipe is in it. A bunch of people. But good little drama. This is one that I used to watch a lot. HBO would run it. And I'm like, well, it's Ridley Scott. Jeff Bridges is in it. So, yeah, good little drama. I think I also have it on Laserdisc, if I'm not mistaken. Then we have Glengarry Glen Ross. Fuck you. That's my name. Exactly. Fuck Alec Baldwin. So there you go. This is the Lionsgate release. I think Shout Factory. Sorry. I think Shout Factory did a 4K. Which has new extra features, so I do want to get that. I think I found this for like $5 somewhere. But ABC, Always Be Closing, great movie. Cannot go wrong with that. An amazing cast as well, as you clearly saw. Then we got some Aerosmith. We have Rock for the Rising Sun, which was a concert that they did. I believe it was a benefit concert. Yeah, there was I'm looking at it now. There was an earthquake, a tsunami, and then a nuclear power plant had a meltdown. I remember when that happened in 2011, and Aerosmith went over there and did a bunch of shows and gave all the money to charity and stuff, and they filmed it and put out this Blu-ray. So there you go. But there's a little like mini documentary on here, and then it has I think it's just a combination of different shows, but good stuff. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, excuse me, that's the only Aerosmith Blu-ray they ever put out. I have some more of their DVDs elsewhere, which we'll again cover when we get to those. But that's the only Blu-ray they put out, because they were working on. I don't know. Nobody knows what Aerosmith is doing. I know they just put out that EP with Youngblood, but I don't give a fuck about Youngblood. So there you go. And it's not really Aerosmith. It was only Steven Tyler and Joe Perry, just like the Run DMC thing. It wasn't the full band. It was only the two members that everybody knows. But they were putting some stuff out on social media. They were like remastering the old music videos, and they were digging in the archives a little bit, but nothing came of it. Nothing happened. I think 2 years ago here on YouTube, they remastered and put up a bunch of concerts, which I have all those, but that was it. Nobody knows what they're doing, because they don't do interviews, they don't do press. Joe Perry and Brad Whitford went out over the summer with the Joe Perry Project. I didn't get a chance to see them, but that's pretty much it. And then Steven Tyler did the Ozzy Sabbath thing in England a couple months ago, but who knows? Who knows what's going on? Anyway, we have The Fugitive. Classic movie as far as I'm concerned. This is one that I would watch all the time as a kid, because I would run around and tell people that I did not kill my wife for whatever reason. But, classic movie. I don't know, and again, we'll see what happens with this Warner Brothers thing. Again, probably nothing. But why they've never done an updated Super Duper Deluxe Blu-ray is beyond me. Hopefully Arrow would do a great job with this. Now, this Blu-ray has, I think this is the 20th anniversary. It doesn't say it. It does have a new featurette on here, and then it has the pilot of the remake TV series they did with Tim Daly. I actually watched that when it was originally on and quite liked it, but I think it was only 1 or 2 seasons. It didn't last that long. But why they've never done again a Super Duper Deluxe Blu-ray for The Fugitive is beyond me, because it was a huge hit when it came out. It's still probably on TV. I'm sure if you turn the TV on right now, it might be on somewhere. So there you go. But I love The Fugitive. Then we have Heathers, the Arrow. Speaking of Arrow, the Arrow release of Heathers. Great movie, which has I think it has all the stuff from the DVD, and then it's got some new stuff on here as well. And one of the best lines ever in a movie: "My son's dead, and he's gay. I love my dead gay son," which I say all the time. So there you go. And then we have The Last Dragon, 30th anniversary. This does have a new featurette on here, but that's it. It's just the featurette, and it has a commentary with the director. There is a 4K out there, but I don't think it has any new extra features. Again, don't quote me. But I'm surprised that this one doesn't have kind of an updated special edition as well, because it is a pretty big cult classic. So there you go. Who knows? And then we have The Taking of Beverly Hills. I love this movie. This is such a killer, underrated 90s action film that nobody ever talks about. For the longest time, this did not have a DVD. For whatever reason, I don't know if it was a rights issue or the studio just didn't care. I remember finding this on VHS at an antique mall Actually, it was funny because it was during a snowstorm. It's winter right now. Yeah, it was snowing out. We had off school. The mall, the antique mall, was still open. They were closing early, and I remember me and a couple friends went in there, and I found I think I found Roadhouse on VHS and The Taking of Beverly Hills, maybe a couple of other movies for really cheap. Because I don't think I had ever seen it before, and like I said, it was only on VHS and Laserdisc because I have both. I still have that VHS and I have it on Laserdisc as well. But if you've not seen this movie, this is really fun. It's a really fun, just straight up old school 90s action movie. Ken Wall is the star, who was on the TV series Wise Guy. He's another guy where it looked like he was going to be the next big thing, the next big star, and it didn't happen. I know he got hurt. I know he fell, and he fucked up his back. I think like his spinal cord he screwed up, and I don't think he ever really got it fixed, so he kind of faded out after that. I mean, he's still alive. I don't know. I guess the residual money from Wise Guy is so good. But yeah, it looked like he was going to be kind of the next big thing because he was in that movie The Wanderers, which we'll cover later, which is a great movie, at least in my opinion. And like I said, he was on the TV show Wise Guy. He was married. I don't know if they're still married, but he was married to one of the Barbie twins that was in Playboy and Penthouse back in the day. And they were a big deal for a couple minutes there. But yeah, if you can find this, I don't know if this Blu-ray is still in print or not because it's Kino. But this movie's fucking awesome. And there's the best part of the movie is they're driving around in this ACP, which is an armored personnel carrier, the ones I used to ride around in the Army. And the Faith No More song Epic is playing, and they're blowing shit up, and they're crashing through houses and all sorts of stuff. But yeah, I really want to watch it now. But if you've not seen The Taking of Beverly Hills, you need to check that movie out. It's a pretty solid action film. Now we're going to get into a bunch of comic book superhero stuff here. So we got the X-Men movies that I actually like. So we have the first X-Men, which it's hard to believe that this movie came out 25 years ago, but it did. I still really like this. I liked it when it first came out. I did not see it in the theater. I saw it when it first came on video. But I still really like it. It's got a lot of cool stuff in there. I think the balance was good with the characters and stuff, which is a problem that I think some sequels have. I think some superhero movies have that problem where let's put 20 characters in it. Let's not do that. Let's build it up. But this, I think, did it fine. And then we have X-Men 2, X-Men United, which was always my favorite. I still think it's the best X-Men movie. I know a lot of people agree with me. But this is where they got it right. And these two are definitely the best of the X-Men. The first two are the best X-Men movies as far as I'm concerned. After that is kind of when things started to dip off. And then we have, speaking of that, X-Men The Last Stand. I don't think that this is as bad as people say it is. I don't think that Brett Ratner was the right choice. Bryan Singer, it's funny because Bryan Singer and Brett Ratner are both scumbags, both pieces of shit as far as I'm concerned. But I don't think he was the right choice to direct this movie. It did feel like the first two movies had a little bit more of a serious tone. It's like they forgot about that with this movie, and it just felt like they were shoving a lot of things in there. Because I think they looked at it like this was going to be the last, that we're going to do a trilogy, and then Wolverine was going to do his own movies, and then that didn't work, so then they tried to come back to X-Men, and then it all got kind of fucked up after here. But I don't think it's as bad as people say it is. I like it for what it is. I actually saw this, the only time I know I always tell this story, but the only time I ever went to a drive-in theater, I went to see this and Adam Sandler's Click. So there you go. Oh, look, there's Ellen Page when Ellen Page decided she wanted to be a cute girl. Now she's fucking retarded, so there you go. Well, I mean, she probably always was. Anyway, and then we also have Days of Futures Past, which I do like. I do think it's a little uneven. I really like the stuff with Wolverine. I did not see the Rogue cut. I only saw the theatrical version. But I do really like the stuff with Wolverine and him going back and forth and all that. The younger X-Men, like Jennifer Lawrence, who I never really liked as an actress, I stand her even less as a fucking person. You know, I'm not big on them. I never was. I don't like the other movies. I don't like First Class was fucking terrible. I rented that on DVD when it first came out, and I could not stand that fucking movie, and I still can't. Apocalypse was terrible, where Apocalypse looked like fucking Ivan Ooze from Power Rangers, and Dark Phoenix was awful. All those movies I thought were awful. And then Dark Phoenix killed the X-Men franchise, thank God. But now they're trying to reboot it and all this other stupid shit. But this is okay. Again, I love that they, Wolverine was kind of the focus and stuff. But, is it one that I would watch as much as the first two? Not really. But the first two X-Men movies I love. Then we have Captain America from the 90s. Is this a good movie? Not really. Is it a finished movie? No, it's not. But there is extra features on here. There is interviews with Albert Pion and Matt Salinger, who played Captain America. I think it's got its moments, but Canon Film, or not Canon Films, 21st Century Films, they did not really know what they were doing. They only made the movie because they had the license and they didn't want to get rid of the license, kind of like what they did with Fantastic Four later on, the Roger Corman film. But I do think it has its bright spots. I believe this is out of print. I don't know what it goes for now. And this is another film that for the longest time was not on DVD. It was only out on VHS and Laserdisc, and I think that's because Marvel was so embarrassed by it that they didn't want it out there. I remember always seeing this in the video store as a kid. And I was like, wait, they did a Captain America movie? Because before the internet, before all that, that was the internet, was the video store. And I always wanted to watch it as a kid. I didn't see it till later, until I was an adult. There was a friend of mine that had it on VHS, and I borrowed it one night from him and watched it. And I was like, oh well. But yeah, it took forever to come out on DVD and Blu-ray. Actually, speaking of bootlegs, I was at a flea market, the one flea market I like to go to, and they actually had an old bootleg DVD copy of it. I was actually thinking about picking it up just cause, but I did not do that. And then we have Captain America, the First Avenger, which I still really like this movie. I think I found it online when it first came out. But I still really enjoy this. I love that it's a World War II movie. I like the origin. The CG is fucking terrible, like with most movies now, to be honest, even though this movie is almost 15 years old, which is hard to believe. But I still really enjoy this film. I think it's one of the better Marvel movies, so I can't complain. I just recently got Winter Soldier. It's over there, so we'll cover that next time. But it's weird because I like the first two Captain Americas. I like the first two Iron Mans. And that's kind of it. I have Thor somewhere else. I like the first Thor. I didn't like the sequels. The first two Hulk movies I like. Well, they only did two Hulk movies. I like the two Hulk movies. So, yeah. And then the rest of them I could... Except for the next couple we're going to talk about. So... Yeah, it's just kind of weird how that happened. But I did review most of these movies and before shit got shut down. Next up, we got Deadpool 1 and 2. I do have Deadpool and Wolverine. It's just over there. I just haven't watched it yet. But these are the steel books, as you can see. Actually, this one I really like. Again, I'm not big on steel books, but I do like this one because it's his mask. And then there you go. But I like all three of the Deadpools. I don't know which one is my favorite. I might say Deadpool 2 is my favorite, to be honest. Really? Not Deadpool and Wolverine? I mean, I like the film, but it wasn't perfect. It was fun. It was good. It was enjoyable, but it wasn't perfect. So there you go. And then we have Deadpool 2. I think this one is the Best Buy exclusive. I don't remember if this one was an exclusive or not. So there you go. And this does have the super duper cut on there, which is pretty cool. And then we have the, speaking of movies, I only like certain ones. We have the only Avengers movie I like, which is Age of Ultron. Yes, I did not like the first. Again, I'm sorry, I'm not flipping you off. I did not like the first Avengers. I saw that in the theater. I didn't really like it then. I didn't like it when I reviewed it before things got shut down. And I saw Infinity War in the theater, and I didn't see that one, or I didn't like that one. And I don't like fucking Endgame. But this is the only one I do like, Age of Ultron. This had the 3D Blu-ray, but I sold it because I don't do 3D. So there you go. And I think this might have been a Best Buy as well. I'm not sure. And then we have Guardians of the Galaxy, which this is the Best Buy Steelbook. But this was the only one I did like. The same thing, I sold the 3D disc when they still did the 3D Blu-rays. Guardians 2 is okay, mostly because of Kurt Russell. Guardians 3 I did not care for. I know it made money. I don't think anybody cared about that movie. Because even when it came out, I'm all over the fucking place. My bad. I don't hear anybody talk about Guardians of the Galaxy 3. So, couldn't have been that good. So there you go. But the first one I still really enjoy. So there's that. And then we have Spawn. I do want to get the Arrow release because it's got features and the PG-13 cut. Which honestly, the PG-13 cut is better. The R-rated cut didn't really add much. So there you go. And it's got new extras and then all the extras from here. Is Spawn a great movie? No. Is it a good movie? Debatable. It has a lot of stuff that I like in it. And I'm a big fan of the Spawn character. Like, that's what I've said for years. I would love if they were to remake it, but it has to be rated R. It has to be practical effects. You know, I think it's a little too late now. Because Michael Jai White, I don't think did a bad job. It's just that it was PG-13. And they didn't take it really seriously because they wanted to sell toys and cheeseburgers and McDonald's and shit like that. Because it was trying to appeal to kids. Which is funny because if you read the Spawn, a lot of the earlier Spawn comics especially, they're not for kids. So there's that. But, you know, I like it for what it is. It is a childhood favorite. But as I've said before, I would love if it got a remake and it was rated R and it was all practical effects. Probably not going to happen. Because Todd McFarlane, well, we're going to do a sequel. We're going to do this. It's not going to happen. So there you go. And then we got some Corey's movies here. First up, Lost Boys, which once more, I don't know why they've never done a super duper deluxe Blu-ray. This would be a perfect title for Arrow, but it's probably not going to happen because Warner Brothers probably wants too much money for the Lost Boys. Because all the features on here from I think the DVD was 2007, somewhere around there. That special edition DVD they did, maybe a little bit earlier. But I think enough time has passed for this movie to get a deluxe super duper version, but it's probably not going to happen. And then we have Lost Boys The Thirst, which I did like. The Tribe I thought was terrible because it was basically just a remake. I thought that movie was awful, but I did like this one because they were trying some different things in here, which is cool. But Corey Haim, I think he was supposed to do it, but he just got out of control with stuff, and I think Corey Feldman probably had a lot to do with that as well, because Corey Feldman is a fucking scumbag, as you all know, as well as I do. So there's that. And then we have License to Drive, which is from Anchor Bay. Now, this has there's a making of, but that's it. The DVD had a commentary and it had one deleted scene. It had interviews with the Coreys. None of that is on this Blu-ray. This is when Anchor Bay was doing the Fox titles, which these are all out of print and they're all expensive. I think I got this I think right when it went out of print, or maybe before, because I didn't pay that much to get it. But I love License to Drive, and that's another movie where I don't know why it hasn't gotten a kind of updated special edition. But again, it's Fox, so it's Disney now, so it's not going to happen. But when it was still Fox, I'm surprised that they didn't do, when that DVD came out, there were some features on there, yeah, but I'm surprised they didn't do one later on, and I'm sorry, I'm squirming. My leg is falling asleep, so there you go. But, oh well. And then we have our Valentine's Day horror movies, because you should have a few of these in your collection. But we have the original My Bloody Valentine, which is an absolute classic, which I did not see this until I was an adult. I remember hearing about it, but I didn't see it until the remake came out, because I think it got kind of a resurgence, because it was out, and people liked it, but it was edited, and this is one that everybody would always talk about. Hopefully there's an uncut version, or they can reconstruct it somehow. And then when that DVD came out, they did do that, which I did have that DVD for quite a while. And then they went back for this Blu-ray because they found the original negatives and they made it better. So there you go. But this is the Shout Factory release. Great addition here. This is when Shout Factory actually gave a shit. And you get both cuts of the movie. I typically only watch the uncut version because you get more. And it's funny, again, as I say with a lot of these older films, you watch these movies now in their uncut form and you just kind of chuckle and say, really? They cut that out? It's not that bad. But remember, in the 80s, it was a problem. But love My Bloody Valentine. Definitely one of my favorite slashers. And I think it's, even to this day, I know it has an audience and such, but I still think it's a little on the underrated side, at least in my book. And then we have the remake, which I actually quite enjoyed this as well. I think that this is one of the better remakes out there, and this does have the 3D glasses, which is pretty cool. So yeah, it has a If They Want to Behave. So there's that, and then on the back there's an ad for Saw 6, which Christ only knows which Saw movie that was. I gave up on those. So there you go. But this one I think is one of the better remakes. And then we have Lover's Lane, which this was a blind buy because it was Arrow. This one's okay. I don't mind this movie for what it is. It's got that late 90s, slasher movie feel to it, like Scream and Urban Legend and movies like that, which I am a fan of those. And Anna Faris is in this, I believe. Yeah, this was her first movie. This was before Scary Movie. So there you go. Of course, there's no extras with her on here, but there is some decent extras, so you can't complain about that. But it's alright. I don't think it's the greatest movie ever, but it's not too bad. And then we have Valentine, which I always get shit for because I like this movie. And when I met Marley Shelton, I brought that up, and she got a kick out of that. I said, all my friends make fun of me because I like this. But I do remember when this came out. It's not bad. Oh, Jesus Christ. It's not the greatest movie ever, but I do like it. You got David Boreanaz in there from Angel. Katherine Heigl gets killed in the first 5 minutes, so I really can't complain because I can't stand her either. You're seeing a trend here. And there's some nice lit-looking ladies in this. Denise Richards, when her face still matched, because she definitely got work done. Yeah, Katherine Heigl's a bitch, but she was hot. Marley Shelton was always pretty. What's her name? Kate Capshaw's daughter. Steven Spielberg's stepdaughter. I can't remember her name, but she ain't ugly either. So there you go. But not terrible, not too. I think Don Coscarelli, the director of Phantasm, is on the commentary track, which I have never listened to. I'd have to check that out at some point. So there you go. And then we have the two Fast and Furious movies that I like the most, because I did have 3 and 5 and 6, but I got rid of those because I'm never really going to watch them. But these are the two that I would actually watch significantly, so that's why I kept them. But we have, and I love that it says the original. Technically, it is not the original because there is an older movie called The Fast and the Furious. So there you go. But this is the first one in the franchise. I've always really liked this movie. Yes, it's Point Break with cars instead of surfing. It's the same movie, but there's another movie from the 80s which I do have called No Man's Land with Charlie Sheen, which was the same thing. So there you go. But I still quite like the first Fast and the Furious movie. And I also quite like Too Fast, Too Furious. After that, Tokyo Drift is okay. I don't mind that one. 4 was terrible. Fast and Furious, that movie was awful. 5 and 6 I liked, but that's when it became more like James Bond. And then 7 I thought was terrible, and it's not because Paul Walker died. Even if Paul Walker had lived, I think the movie still would have been terrible. And then 8 was a little bit better, and then I stopped watching after that because that's when they started going to space, and Cardi B is in there, and I can't stand that fucking cunt. So there you go. Oh well. I fucked up. I should have put... Oh, it's alright, I'll fix it. I should have put this before and put Fast and Furious because then I have more Vin Diesel to talk about, but oh well. But anyway, we have the Three Flavors Cornetto trilogy. This is the European release because the American version of this was just one Blu-ray case with all the discs in it. This is a little bit of a nicer presentation. You get a little box set here. So that's why I picked this up. And they're region free, so it doesn't matter because a lot of Universal's Blu-rays are region free. So there you go. But Shaun of the Dead, I've always really liked. Hot Fuzz was always my favorite. And I just watched all these recently because I had never seen The World's End. I liked all 3. I thought The World's End was good. I think it was a little long, though. It could have got trimmed up a little bit. But Hot Fuzz was always my favorite because it's an action movie, but then it's also a parody of action movies. But I absolutely love that. But Shaun of the Dead is great as well, but all good stuff. And then got some more Vin Diesel. We have the Arrow release of Pitch Black, which is the only Riddick movie I do like. I actually saw The Chronicles of Riddick in the theater when it came out, and I didn't think of it much in the theater, and I think I may have watched it once or twice after that. And honestly, I still don't know what the hell's going on in that movie. So there you go. But I do quite like Pitch Black. So there's that. Then we have Boiler Room, which is great. Another film that it was New Line, so it's Warner Brothers, so we'll see what happens. But I don't know why they've never done an updated version of this. I think enough time has passed that it could get some new extra features. Got a couple on here. But I really like that movie. I've always enjoyed it ever since I remember when it came out on, I don't remember it coming out in the theaters, but I do remember when it came out on video, and Giovanni Ribisi, who I've always liked, and this was before Fast and Furious, but after Fast and the Furious came out, I think it got more attention because Vin Diesel was in it and such, and they tried to bump it up. But I remember seeing that, like the poster for that in the video stores and stuff back in the day, but I didn't see it till later. But I really enjoy it. And I enjoy a lot of those, stockbroker movie, like Wall Street. I know a lot of people are kind of on Wall Street. Michael Douglas is absolutely the best part of that movie. But The Wolf of Wall Street, because you watch these movies and you realize that it's all a fucking scam. Like, it truly is. Like, stocks and all that, it's just a fucking, it's a pump and dump game. Like, in this movie. It's a game to these people. They're going to fuck you out of all this money, and they're going to get away with it. Like, that's why I don't invest. Like, a lot of people always ask me, do you invest in the stock market? No, because it's a fucking scam. It always was a scam. It's money laundering. Just like Hollywood. So there you go. No wonder they get along so well. I remember in high school, we had to take a class about economics and the stock market. I'm like, this is all fucking bullshit. Like, this is stupid. And you hear all these horror stories about how people got screwed over, and the pension scam. I know that's a little bit different, but pension scams and everything. It's all a fucking game to these people. It makes for hell of a movie. It makes for hell of a good movie if I could get words out of my face hole. But in reality, it's a fucking scam. So there you go. Anyway, we have Triple X, the 15th anniversary edition. Still love this movie. I did not get a chance to see this in the theater. But I remember it came out on, because I think this came out in July in the theaters. I think it came out on home video around Christmas, if I'm not mistaken. And I remember going to Blockbuster on New Year's Eve and renting it on VHS and watching. And I still really enjoy this. Both of the sequels are fucking terrible. But this first one is still really good. I think it's a pretty solid early 2000s action film. And it's funny because this never gets brought up anymore, which is kind of odd. But this had, at the time that this came out was when they were doing that sequel with Vin Diesel. So there is a new interview with Vin Diesel on here. And then it has the extra features from the old DVD. But it's only the theatrical cut because, once again, that's when Sony they were reissuing their movies as director's cuts and stuff like that. I still have the DVD of the director's cut DVD somewhere, which they just put the deleted scenes back in. It wasn't much. I think, because it's like unrated, uncensored, I think there was one scene that had nudity in it, but it really wasn't much. So there's that. Oh well. And then we have A Man Apart. Like, these earlier Vin Diesel movies I quite like because this is when he was trying different things. I think once, from what I understand, well, let me get to this first. But I like this. It's a vigilante revenge movie. Apparently this was a very difficult movie to make. And I have the work print is called El Diablo, and they had to change it because the people that made the Diablo games ended up suing them for some reason. So I have that elsewhere. I actually have it on VHS. I have a bootleg VHS of it. But I always enjoyed this film. But going back to Vin Diesel. Vin Diesel is one of those actors where there was a lot of potential for him to do different things, which is what we're going to talk about with the next movie. But I think very early on, he became very difficult to work with. Because I heard for Chronicles of Riddick, Universal didn't really want to make that movie. Because the first one, Pitch Black, did okay. It didn't blow up at the box office. But Vin Diesel really liked the character of Riddick, and he wanted to make more. So as a bargaining chip, after Fast and Furious came out, and it was this big hit and everything, he was able to negotiate doing the sequel, but they wanted him to do Too Fast, Too Furious. And I think initially he agreed to do it, and then he backed out of the deal. I heard he wanted like $50 million to do all these movies and everything, and he was able to negotiate doing the Riddick sequel, but then he had to do a cameo in Tokyo Drift. And then you hear all these stories about him, but I think he was from not the beginning, but I think he was like Steven Seagal, where he got a very big head very quickly, and he wanted all this stuff, but, people just kept dealing with him. And it's funny how now, and the Triple X, I can see it from here, we'll get to it soon, the unrated DVD or whatever. But these fucking Fast and Furious movies kept making all this money, so that's why they kept dealing with them. But it's funny because, after a while, he only did those movies. He stopped trying to do other things. But they were just dealing with it, I guess. Oh well, but this is a movie. This is probably my favorite Vin Diesel movie, to be honest. And I think it's his best performance. But Find Me Guilty, where he played Jackie De Nosorcio, who was a mob boss that represented himself in court and everything. But great performance, like I said. I think this is his best performance. Really good movie if you haven't seen it. I think it had a limited theatrical run. and then it kind of went straight to video, because I remember seeing it like in the video stores and stuff. I was like, oh, that could be cool, and I think I rented it and really enjoyed it. I had it on DVD for quite a while, and then when this Blu-ray came out, I picked it up because it has all the stuff from the DVD on here. But again, if you have not seen this movie, it's really good. There's a really solid performance from Vin Diesel when he actually gave a shit about his acting and such. I like The Pacifier. I have that on DVD. Knock Around Guys is pretty good. But the other thing is, a lot of the other movies that he did, I thought were terrible. Like Last Witch Hunter, which is getting a sequel for some reason, I thought was awful. Babylon AD was fucking terrible. And also, with a lot of his movies, you hear all these stories about them getting re-edited and reshoots and everything, which is what happened with this film. But I think, which is a shame, because I don't think he's a bad actor. I think when he actually gives a shit, he can do something interesting. But I think he got a big head very quickly, and it, I want this, I want that, and again, you want $50 million to do Riddick movies? I don't think so. So there you go. Anyway, let's get through the last couple over here, and then I will, in this part, shift over and we'll start working on the other shelf, because I have about half an hour left. So we'll do that. Next up, got a couple Sam Peckinpah movies here. The Wild Bunch. Love The Wild Bunch. One of my all-time favorite westerns. Once again, a film that I don't know why they have never done an updated Super Duper Deluxe. Again, Warner Brothers, Arrow would be great to do this film, but it's probably not going to... May happen, may not happen. We'll see. But I love The Wild Bunch. Then we have The Getaway, which I go back and forth with this and Bullet once again on what's my favorite Steve McQueen movie. So, oh well. And once again, I don't know why they've never done a updated Super Duper Special Edition. So there's that. And then we have Bring Me the Head of Alfredo Garcia. So we have the Twilight Time release. Fucking Twilight Time. And then we have the Arrow release, because there's different extra features on both of them. And the Arrow release has the documentary about Sam Peckinpah, which is like 10 hours all together with the footage and interviews and everything. So there you go. And I think Kino did a release which has different extra features as well, so I'll have to look into that. So there we go. Next up, we got Meatballs. Love Meatballs, the food and the movie. I'm Italian, come on now. But great movie. Are you ready for the summer? Actually, as a matter of fact, I am, because it's only December 10th, and I'm done with the fucking cold. So there you go. Then we have Ghostbusters 1 and 2, the 30th anniversary. I like this old digibook. I do want to get that. They did that box set, which went out of print very quickly, and then you couldn't get it because people gobbled them up, because that one had all new extra features and the work print and everything like that. But I might still hold on to this, to be honest. But it's Ghostbusters 1 and 2. Can you really go wrong? And then I have another set, but I sold the movies out of it. I just kept the bonus discs, but they're over there somewhere. Then we have Willy's Wonderland, which I love. This was a very nice surprise when I first saw it. So there you go. I love that it says DVD exclusive when it's a Blu-ray. Somebody missed that typo. And then we have Overboard. This is the Severin release, which has some extra features on here, but love Overboard. One of my favorite romantic comedies, so to speak, which I'm not big on romantic comedy because they're all the same. Guy meets girl. They fall in love. Happily ever after. Okay. Yeah, I get it. So there's that. So anyway, I finally finished this shelf. It only took 8 hours to do, but I do have about a half an hour left on this go round. So I will actually we'll jump over and we'll start working on the next shelf. So I'll do a little quick edit here, put this stuff away, adjust the camera a little bit, and we'll get rocking and rolling on the other stuff here. So thank you for being patient, but you guys know me. And again, you guys keep leaving comments. No, we love the stories. Okay, well, I'll keep telling them. So there you go. Anyway, we'll be back in a jiff. Alright, little hop, skip, and a jump. We just switch gears a little bit over here. So now we're going to get into these two shelves here. So this was the OG shelf that my grandparents got. I forget where I think my mom got these. I'm not sure where she got them, but we have two of them here. And this one, the first shelf here, other way, it's opposite. This is all Blu-ray. Both sides are all Blu-ray. And then this shelf here, the left side is all Blu-ray, and then the top right corner is Blu-ray, and then the other two at the bottom is DVD. So this is only the beginning of Blu-ray, because this is all Blu-rays I've watched. The other Blu-rays are over there, which we'll of course get into. But we're almost through the Blu-rays I've watched yet, so we're just going to go ahead and we'll start at the top here and go through. And it is double stacked, so it's a row, and then on top is two rows, because just how it is for now. But let's go ahead and start up here. Let's grab these. Ah! Oh my God! There you go. First up, Red Belt. Actually, really enjoyed this movie. This was, I think, my dad bought the DVD from Blockbuster or rented. I think he bought it, and I watched it. Really enjoyed this film. Really, it's not an action film. It is a martial arts movie, but it's more of a drama. But there's a really solid cast in here. You got I'm gonna butcher his name. I'm sorry, because I feel bad because people butcher my name all the time. Chiwetel Ejiofor, I think is how you say his name. But I always liked him as an actor. First time I saw him was probably Four Brothers. He was the bad guy in Four Brothers with Mark Wahlberg. Tim Allen is in the movie. Joe Mantegna's in the film. Ed O'Neill has a cameo. So a bunch of... Dan Inosanto is also in this, which is the main reason why I wanted to watch it. So there you go. But really, really solid drama if you have not seen that. Then we have Desperado, one of my all-time favorite 90s action movies. I think this one, Best Buy, they were doing a... here it is. Pop... or Project Pop Art. They were having all these different artists do the Blu-ray covers, which was pretty cool. But I definitely want to get the Arrow box set, because I do like El Mariachi. Once Upon a Time in Mexico. The only two things I remember about that movie is Johnny Depp asking Danny Trejo, "Are you a Mexican or a Mexicant?" And then that fake arm that Johnny Depp had. Other than that, I couldn't tell you anything. But Desperado is fucking awesome. So there you go. I gotta try to watch that before the year's over, because it is the 30th anniversary. Then we have Young Guns. Definitely want to pick up the 4K of Young Guns. That's got new extra features, and then it's got some. No, I think it's got all the stuff from the DVD. But I still have Young Guns on DVD because the DVD has more features that didn't make it to this Blu-ray. So there you go. But one of my all-time favorite westerns, cannot go wrong. I have Young Guns 2 on DVD. I like Young Guns 2. I just hate the fucking ending. Because everybody dies, and that's not what happened in real life, actually. So, it is inaccurate. But I like Kiefer Sutherland. The reason why they killed his character off so soon is because he was actually shooting another movie at the time. So he had to get freed up to go do that. Like, I get that, but I don't fucking like it, and it's not accurate to what actually happened. Same with Chavez, Lou Diamond Phillips' character. Chavez, I think in real life, he died naturally. He didn't get killed. I think he just got old and he died. So it's like, what the fuck? Like, I get it, it's a movie. But they're acting like these dudes, they all, like, died in these shootouts. And no, most of them just, they got old and they died. I'm like, what the hell? Anyway. But the first Young Guns is an absolute classic. I don't think anybody would disagree. So there you go. Next up, we have 976 Evil. I believe this is out of print. And from what I understand, this does fetch for pretty decent dollars, actually. So there you go. But I got this when it was still in print. I think I got this out at Entertainment when I was still in the Army. Does have a commentary with Robert Englund and his wife. And what's interesting is this is the movie that they met on. His wife, I think, was... I want to say she worked in the costume department. I could be wrong. But they met on this movie and then got married. So it's cool that they did the commentary. And then it does have, when it came out on VHS and Laserdisc, they did an extended cut. The DVD didn't have that, so they put both cuts of the movie on here. I always liked this. I always thought this was a cool little movie. I thought Robert Englund was a good director. The only other movie he directed was called Killer Pad, I think, and I heard it wasn't that good. I've never seen it, but 976 Evil, I always enjoyed that movie. That was one, when I was a teenager, HBO, Cinemax. I know people, like, why don't you say Cinemax? Because HBO and Cinemax are owned by the same people. So, tomato, tomato. But HBO and Cinemax for a little while was running that on there, and I used to watch it because I was like, oh, I've never seen this, and it's got Evil Ed from Fright Night, and Robert Englund directed it. So, yeah, let me check this out. But I quite like that movie. I know I have it on Laserdisc. I'm not sure if I still have it on VHS or not. I did have it on VHS at one point. But I like the film. I saw like half of the sequel because it was before streaming was a thing. Depending on your cable network, like we had Comcast for a while, and they would have free movies on demand. So a lot of movies I watched on there. And they had 976 Evil 2 on there for a while. But I only watched like half of it because I didn't like it. So maybe I'll give it another chance. Because I know Michael Felsher's working on that. That and the Prom Night sequels and Fright Night 2. So we'll see what happens. Anyway. Leviathan. This is the Shout Factory release, which is out of print. But the Kino, I don't think the Kino release had any new extras. I think it just had a new transfer. But I love Leviathan. Honestly, out of the 1989 underwater movies, this one might be my favorite. Sorry, The Abyss, but it might be Leviathan. So there you go. But great creature feature. Say motherfucker. And I know Peter Weller said he enjoyed working on that movie, which is cool. Next up, we got Casper. I know they did a 4K, but I don't think it has any new extras. And this is another movie that I'm surprised. This year would have been the year to do it because it's the 30th anniversary, but I'm surprised they've never done an update. I know I keep saying this, but a lot of these movies, they're at that level where they're now cult classics and everything, and why a lot of these movies don't have special editions is beyond me. There is some extra features, but I think it was just stuff from the DVD. There was nothing new on here. And the other thing is, this was a big hit when it came out. I'm surprised Universal did not do a signature collection Laserdisc for this movie, to be perfectly honest. But childhood favorite, love Casper. Still have the old school VHS from when I was a kid. I never get tired of watching it. I watch it every Halloween. So there you go. Unfortunately, that's the only good Casper movie because A Spirited Beginning was okay, and then Casper Meets Wendy was kind of but yeah, there was only one good Casper movie as far as I'm concerned. So there's that. And then we have I'ma Get You Sucker. I love this movie. I love blaxploitation movies, which I know people probably find strange. As you can see, I'm not black. But I love that genre, and I love that this is a parody, and they got a lot of the actors in here and stuff. But this movie is a lot of fun. I do wish that it had more extra features, but it's got some stuff from back in the day. I guess Keenan Ivory Wayne's doesn't want to talk about it or what have you. Actually, let's do. So here's what I'll do. I'll do the top, and then we'll do the front, and then I'll go to the back and do that stuff. That way, it's just a little more easier to work here. So why not? Next, we got Swingers. Great movie. You already know what I'm going to say. I'm surprised that they've not done an updated special edition of it. Maybe next year, because next year is the 30th anniversary of this movie. So maybe they'll put that back out, or maybe they'll put it back in the theaters. I'd love to go see this, but we'll see. But love Swingers. Great comedy. You're So Money, baby. Then we have the Holy Shnikey edition of Tommy Boy, which once more, this was the 30th anniversary this year. I don't know, number one, why they didn't put it back in the theaters this year. They put Clueless back in the theater. Why didn't they put Tommy Boy? And number two, yeah, it's got a bunch, like from the DVD, it's got a bunch of stuff, but maybe David Spade could do a commentary. I don't know. I do find, like, the director, I'm losing my damn, Peter Siegel, or Seagal, or whatever, Peter Siegel, he just seems like a whiny bitch. Like, I saw an interview, he was on Michael Rosenbaum's, and he's a good director, don't get me wrong, because he did some of the Adam Sandler movies, he did Naked Gun 3, which I enjoy, but he was telling a story about Naked Gun 3 where Leslie Nielsen got mad at him because he didn't know what he was doing. Like, he was a first-time director, and he was in over his head. And he was making it seem like Leslie Nielsen was being a dick. No, he was just being honest. Like, you're a first-time director. You don't know what you're doing. You know, this is the third movie. You know what I'm saying? He's just so whiny. Like, oh, my God, I wanted to quit. And I'm like, well, then go do something else. Anyway. Then we have Black Sheep, which I know Kino did a release, but I don't think it had any. Actually, let me look that up, because I do like Black Sheep. I know ever since it came out, everybody's like, well, it's just Tommy Boy Part 2. I mean, you could look at it that way. It's the same actors, it's the same studio. But I always liked it. I thought it was a funny little movie. It's got a good cast. And Penelope Spheris directed the film, so I can't complain. Okay, well, the Kino release has a audio commentary with Penelope Spheris, which was done last year for that release. So I definitely want to pick that up, because it's so funny to me. You know, there's no great women directors before Patty Jenkins. Patty Jenkins sucks as a director. Laughing about Wonder Woman raping men. Well, that's great. But Penelope Spheris was always one of my favorite female directors. Whether it's this movie, or Wayne's World, or Little Rascals, or The Decline of Western Civilization 1 and 2. Dudes is probably my favorite movie that she did. She's so good, and she's so underrated. And Darren Okada was the director of photography on this. Very nice. But, I like this movie, for what it is. I love the scene where Gary Busey and Chris Farley are fighting, and he goes, where'd you learn those moves? From Bruce Lee. I have all his movies on Laserdisc. And I was, even as a kid, when I heard Laserdisc, I was like, fuck yes! So there you go. And then we have the I Am Farley documentary. Really good documentary. I really do like this. It's just, Chris Farley is another guy where he had all the talent in the world. He just had that ability to just make everybody laugh. But his demons were, I think, a lot bigger than people realized. I think his issues were bigger than people knew, and he tried to cover that up with the drugs and the alcohol, and ultimately, that's what did him in. Because a lot of people were like, well, he wanted to be like John Belushi. John Belushi was his hero. I get that, but I think a lot of that was a cover. I think Chris had a lot of stuff going on in his head, and he didn't know how to deal with it. And I saw a recent clip from Jim Brewer, and Jim Brewer was talking about how, the last time that he saw him was when he guest hosted Saturday Night Live, and he looked terrible, and he was just, people were just giving him drugs, and they were drinking, and, Clearly, at that point, that was the end of his life. Clearly, there was nothing that could have been done. And Jim Brewer was talking about, like, that's evil. Like, when you know that people have problems and you just keep enabling them and you keep giving them drugs and you tell them everything is fine. And he said it really, really bothered him, and he was going to call Chris Farley, and he was trying to get his number, and his agent was refusing to give his number, and then a couple of days later he died. And yeah, I've always loved Chris Farley, but I think in more recent years people are finally starting to realize that, I think his problems were a lot bigger than most would like to admit or like to talk about. That's just how I look at it. So, oh well. But it is a great documentary. It is really sad, at least in my opinion, because, again, here was a guy that was just so full of life, and all he wanted to do was make people happy and entertain, and he just couldn't handle a lot of things, and drugs and alcohol is not going to help your situation, no matter what you do. So there you go. And then we have the Steelbook of Dances with Wolves. I like Dances with Wolves. I think it's a good movie. I don't think it's the greatest movie ever. And it's funny because when it came out, it was this huge hit and it won all these awards, and now nobody talks about it. But it is a good movie. You can't say that it's not a good movie. Is it one that I watch again and again and again and again? No, but it is one that I like to have in my collection because, again, I do think it is a solid film. And Avatar ripped it off, so there you go. So we are at an hour. I will wrap this up here, and then we'll cut it here. So we got a couple more Kevin Costner movies. We have Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. This is the extended cut. I need to get the Arrow release, but that went out of print very quickly, and it does go for some hefty prices online because that had all the features from this, and then it had a bunch of new features, and it's got both cuts. Because that was the thing that bothered me. Because, again, it's the same studio, but they're always fucking lazy. This is only the director's cut, which I'm okay with, but I like having the theatrical cut as well. But that only came out on the old DVD. Because I used to have the DVD equivalent to this, but it was only the extended version. So there you go. But good movie. This was a huge deal when it came out. I know everybody makes the joke about the Bryan Adams song, Everything I Do It For You, how it, had everybody, held hostage. Well, it's a great song, and that was a big deal. That song was a huge deal when it came out. That movie was a huge deal when it came out. I was not alive yet, but that's another film that when I was a kid, everybody's parents had that on VHS. You'd go to people's houses and everybody would have Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. So there you go. And next up we have Waterworld, the Arrow release. I love this movie. I don't care what anybody says. I absolutely love Waterworld. The first time I saw this, when I went to England as a kid, this was the movie that they showed on the plane ride, because back then you didn't have the screens on the chairs and you couldn't watch 87 movies, and they had to edit the movies because there was kids there. Remember when they used to do that, the airline edits? I would love if they would release those on some of these extra features, but it probably won't happen. But that's the first time I saw it. When it came out, it was a flop. It wasn't a flop, actually. It just didn't do what they wanted it to do because they were comparing it to this movie. But it has gone on to become this cult classic and everything, which I absolutely love. So I cannot complain. And this has 3 versions of the movie. It has the theatrical cut, the TV version, and then it has like a hybrid cut. And it's got a bunch of extra features on here. And this is I think Arrow did a standard version, but I got this as soon as it came out. I went to Entertain Mart in Colorado when I was still in the Army, and I think I got it like the first day it came out because I was like, fuck yes, Waterworld. It's about time this movie got some respect. I love Waterworld. I don't care. Fuck you. And then next up we got some Robert De Niro before he lost his fucking mind. So there we go. We got Mean Streets. I need to get the Criterion release of this because it's got new extras. But really solid movie. Always enjoyed this film. Kind of a precursor to some of the other movies that him and Scorsese would do. The 40th anniversary edition of Taxi Driver. I got this at the PX when I was in the Army. Still got the sticker on it. But love Taxi Driver. Great movie. It's got new interviews with Martin Scorsese and Jodie Foster, Robert De Niro, and extras and stuff. But absolute classic film. Cannot go wrong. And maybe becoming a documentary very, very soon here. We'll see. Raging Bull. I do like Raging Bull. Oh, De Niro's mouth is covered up with a piece of with a sticker. Maybe we should do that in real life. So there you go. I know there's a Criterion, but I don't think it has any new extras. I'd have to look that up. But I do like Raging Bull. I always did. The best part of the movie is Joe Pesci, at least for me. And again, Robert De Niro, you cannot doubt he is one of the all-time... Well, he was at one point one of the all-time great actors. I think in the 2000s, he started to really dip off in his abilities, at least in my opinion. But dude... You're like a gazillionaire. What the fuck do you have to complain about? You're always bitching about Donald Trump ruining your legacy. See, that's why I like as a kid, I would have said Robert De Niro more. But as an adult, Al Pacino. Because Al Pacino doesn't get political. He just talks about his movies and acting and food. Because apparently the guy's always hungry. Which is awesome. But De Niro is just a whiny fucking bitch. The wannabe plays all these, tough guys in the movie, but in real life he's a pussy. So there you go. Anyway, Once Upon a Time in America, you got to take a day off to watch this movie because it's that long. I don't know. Again, another film. I don't know why they've never done like a super duper box set of this, but it has the original theatrical cut, and then it's got the director's cut, which again is like 4 hours, so you got to take a day off of work to watch it. It's got a couple extra features, but not much. I think this went out of print very quickly as well, because I remember grabbing it, because I don't know why, but it went out of print. Not immediately, but very quickly. So there, but just weird because it's Warner Brothers, but oh well. Then we have Midnight Run. I love this movie, one of my favorite action comedies. This is the Shout Factory release. This actually does have a new interview with Robert De Niro when they did this Blu-ray, which is pretty cool. So it got some other stuff on here as well. But great movie. Absolutely love Midnight Run. Then we have Goodfellas. Absolute classic. I think this is the 30th anniversary. It doesn't say. Or no, 25. Yeah, it says 2015, so it's from 10 years ago. But it's a 4K transfer. It's got a new documentary. Joe Pesci's in it and a bunch of other people, which is cool. And it's got all the stuff from the old DVD. But this is the best that the movie's ever going to look. I know they did an actual 4K, but it's the same transfer, so you're good with that. Then we have Casino, which I do kind of like this steelbook, but love Casino. And I have a friend, one of my best friends from when I was in the Army, and another film, Arrow, worked with Universal. They'd kill it. I guess they want too much. Universal wants too much money for it. But I had one of my best friends from the Army. He grew up in Vegas, and he loves this movie. And he always, like when we were serving, he would always quote the movie and shit, which is hilarious. Then we have Ronin from Arrow. Again, absolutely love this movie. I still think it's underrated. That's just how I feel. But great late 90s action film, and Arrow did a great job with this, which is awesome. But absolutely, again, love that movie. One of my favorites. You ever kill anybody? No. I hurt somebody's feelings once. Which, not to get into this territory, but No, I've never killed anybody. At least as far as I know. No, it's a joke. But when nobody has ever asked me that question, like, "Oh, you were in the army. Did you ever kill anybody?" But if they did, that would be my response. No, but I hurt somebody's feelings once. So there you go. And then we have Analyze This and That, which I love these. I think these movies are still hilarious. The shitty thing is, again, it's the same company. Warner Brothers was too lazy to put the extra features from the DVD to the Blu-ray, so I still have these on DVD, which we'll cover later on. But there's that. And then we'll knock out these three quickly here, and we'll get this part tidied up. The Blues Brothers. Classic movie. Once again, I don't know why they've not done a super duper deluxe, because there's some extra features, but they're outdated at this point. I know everybody's pretty much dead, sadly. Steve Cropper just died. But the people that still are alive, you could talk to them. And again, Arrow would do a great job with this, but once more, I'm pretty sure Universal wants too much money for it. So it's not going to happen. Then we have Mickey Rourke double feature of The Pope of Greenwich Village and Desperate Hours. I have never watched Desperate Hours. I only got this for The Pope of Greenwich Village, which I absolutely love. They took my thumb, Charlie! Which Eric Roberts is the best part of the movie. And I love that they put each movie on separate discs. Now, I know it's Blu-ray, higher quality, higher bit rate, but I still love when they separate the discs. That's awesome. They don't always do that, but when they do for Blu-ray, it makes me happy. So there's that. But when I met Eric Roberts, I said it, Pope of Greenwich Village, one of my all-time favorite movies. You were the best part and everything, and he got a big kick out of that. But classic movie. And last, but certainly not least in this part, I just watched this movie recently, and I had not seen it in forever, but Blue fucking Thunder. Great movie. If you have not seen it, do yourself a favor and check it out. Roy fucking Scheider. I love that guy. I miss that guy. But classic movie. All real practical helicopter stunts and everything. Would love if this got a newer, updated special edition. We still got Malcolm McDowell. We still got Daniel Stern. John Badham's still kicking. But it'd be cool if maybe they did an updated version of this. But I love Blue Thunder. Classic film. I kind of want to watch it again. Like I said, I love one of the positive things that came out. I'm sorry, my leg's all fucked up. One of the positive things that came out of not being on YouTube anymore is I can actually go back and watch a lot of these movies again that I haven't seen in forever. Like Blue Thunder. So there you go. Anyway, I know I went a little bit longer here. I wanted to kind of dig in. That's going to be it for this part, which this is part 8, I believe. Yeah. So part 9, we'll get into the back here, and then we'll start working in the middle shelf, and we'll just keep rocking and rolling, and we'll do it. So anyway, we'll see you guys next time. Later.